家柱，妈妈真的恐怕见不到你了。癌症已经不转移了，妈妈真的很害怕。妈妈对不起你，你要坚强的生活。其实妈妈最大的心愿就是想见你一面。
The woman in the video earlier is named Li Xiaomei. By the time she posted this video on Chinese social media, her cancer had progressed to its late stage. In the video, she expresses that her last wish before passing is to see her son, who was abducted and is missing. Li Xiaomei passed away at 11 a.m. on August 19th after battling cancer. In the end, she couldn't fulfill her wish. After searching for her son for 9 years, she still didn't get to see her son, Lu Jiazhu. Her son, Lu Jiazhu, who is now 14 years old, went missing on September 26, 2015, which was the day before the Mid-Autumn Festival in China. He had just celebrated his 5th birthday. That day, Li Xiaomei was working in another city. As Mid-Autumn approached, she called her husband to ask if their son had mooncakes to eat. The first call didn't get through. On the second call, her husband answered and said that their son Lu Jiazhu was missing. Li Xiaomei hung up and cried all the way back to her home in Guangdong. Li Xiaomei learned from neighbors that Lu Jiazhu was playing with 3 kids next door. 2 older kids went home to get water, and the 2 younger ones were abducted. Lu Jiazhu was small and had darker skin. He had a surgical scar on his left side, which became one of the few clues in her search for him. Many times, receiving even wrong information about the child would bring some comfort to families looking for their kids. Not wanting to burden her husband, Li Xiaomei divorced and moved back to her family's home. Besides her abducted son Lu Jiazhu, she has an 11-year-old daughter with autism. Her daughter is taken care of by her husband, but during holidays, she brings her daughter to stay with her. Li Xiaomei entered her DNA into databases and searched everywhere for her son. At night, she would go live and ran all over the place with other families looking for lost kids, visiting Beijing, Heilongjiang, and Shandong. However, for 9 years, she hadn't received any news about her child. In May 2022, Li Xiaomei was diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer, and doctors told her she had only 3 months to live. A kind person had once provided her with some funds, which allowed her to persist for 14 months. Li Xiaomei said she was tired and didn't want to search anymore. She didn't have the money or energy to continue. Staying up late to go live made her feel dizzy, and she feared the tumor in her head could change. She stopped the live sessions. These illnesses came too early. My biggest wish was to see Jiazhu again during my lifetime. Sadly, before she passed, she still did not get to see her abducted son Lu Jiazhu. How many children go missing in China each year? There is currently no authoritative data available. Baby Come Home is China's largest public welfare website for finding missing minors. It is seen as the weather vane for missing children in China due to its collaboration with the Ministry of Public Security. Although the site does not cover all missing children, it can still provide a clearer picture of the situation regarding missing children in China over recent decades. We collected data from the website as of August 12, 2018, which published information on 35,850 missing children and 36,020 messages from parents searching for them. This data allows us to analyze the issue of missing children in China. The problem of missing children in China became serious starting in the 1980s. By the early 1990s, the number of missing children had reached an all-time high. Since the 1990s, there has been more detailed legislation regarding child trafficking crimes. The Ministry of Public Security also began organizing special operations against trafficking. As a result, the number of missing children began to gradually decline. The sharp increase in the number of missing children in the 1980s in China is closely related to the family planning policy. Due to the one-child policy, some parents chose to give up or abandon their excessive children, leading to a surge in missing children. Additionally, under the societal mindset of preferring sons to daughters and having children to support parents in old age, some families without boys took risks to buy or adopt boys. A Chinese scholar mentioned in a research paper that while the family planning policy was adjusted in 1980 to allow only one child, it was not enforced until 1984. That year, the family planning policy began to be strictly implemented, leading to a sharp increase in the number of missing children. Among the 35,850 children searched for by their parents, 13,360 went missing because their parents sent them for adoption, and 2,376 were abandoned directly. Additionally, due to the preference for boys, the proportion of girls being abandoned by their parents is higher. More than half of the missing girls were abandoned or sent for adoption. Han Yongji, who was sentenced to death for trafficking 22 children, emphasized during his trial that he was doing a good deed. He testified in court that a worker told him about children that parents no longer wanted and asked if he knew anyone who had children. I thought I was doing a good deed, helping others with their needs, not breaking the law. I didn't deceive or steal children, nor did I harm them, he said. Because many parents illegally send away or even sell their children, judicial authorities have prioritized cracking down on parent-child selling. It is important to note that when parents search for their missing children, it takes a certain amount of courage to admit that they sent them for adoption or abandoned them. A considerable number of parents have sent away, abandoned, or even sold their children without ever acknowledging or realizing it was wrong. The actual situation of parents abandoning their children may be even more serious. Apart from parents causing child abductions, the main factor for missing children is kidnapping by traffickers. When it comes to traffickers, everyone grits their teeth in anger. According to Chinese criminal law regarding child trafficking, Article 240 of the criminal law states that anyone who traffics children will receive a prison sentence of 5 to 10 years and a fine. In particularly severe cases, the death penalty will be imposed, along with the confiscation of property. The minimum penalty for child trafficking is harsher than that for intentional homicide. After all, when a child is taken by a trafficker, that moment shatters the entire family. So, what age group of children is most vulnerable? The answer is ages 2 to 4. This age group is most likely to go missing because children at this stage are somewhat independent from parental supervision, but they are too young to be aware of dangers and unable to protect themselves when faced with risks. Moreover, unlike other countries where the main purpose of human trafficking is exploitation, in China, the primary aim of traffickers is to sell children for adoption. The younger the child, the less they remember, and the easier it is for them to blend into the abducting family. Therefore, younger children are the primary targets of traffickers. In addition to targeting younger children, the missing rate of those aged 13 to 14 is also higher than that of other age groups. By this age, traffickers are no longer just looking to adopt. They seek children for labor, begging, or even to force them into illegal activities. Traffickers often operate in public places, with train stations being the most common sight. 30% of public place abductions occur there. Due to the dense crowd and high mobility, train stations are perfect for traffickers to take children. Various markets and schools are also areas where children easily go missing. The number of missing children in the provinces of Guizhou, Chongqing, and Sichuan is the highest relative to their populations, making these the most severe areas for child disappearances in China. These missing children are not only sold to Guangdong and Fujian, but are also taken by traffickers to Hunan, Hebei, and Shandong. Some scholars summarize this with the phrase, concentrated abductions in the West, scattered abductions in the East. When calculating by total missing children, most of them come from populous provinces such as Hunan, Shandong, and Hebei. The missing children ultimately spread across the country, with the highest number flowing into Jiangsu. Together with the eastern provinces of Fujian and Guangdong, they become the primary areas for the influx of trafficked children, with high numbers of both incoming and outgoing cases. However, not all missing children are taken far away. In fact, a staggering 43% of trafficked children do not leave their original prefecture. 16% of trafficked children, although they leave the city, still remain within the same province, no matter where the children are abducted to. Even if they are not taken out of their hometown, the chances of them recognizing their biological parents are extremely low. In 2014, the police in Xinjiang, Fujian, cracked a child trafficking case. The son of the Liu couple, a twin, was found 10 years after he went missing. The couple never expected that their abducted child was living in a neighboring village just 4 kilometers away from them. The Le couple couldn't believe it. They said, "We often go to Yongdai to stroll, but we have never encountered Xiaoxin. If we had met, we might not have recognized him." Like the Le couple, examples of successfully finding abducted children are not high. There are over 70,000 reunion messages on Baby Come Home, but so far only more than 2,500 families have been reunited.